Am I the jerk for not being there for my best friend when she needed me most? 2 years ago, I noticed that something was wrong with my best friend. She was not as responsive over the past week to my texts or calls. This was odd as she is a chatty person. I had texted her to ask if she was okay. She then started sending me messages about how she had not been okay for weeks. She felt gaslit by me asking this question because, according to her, she had been making it clear that she had not been okay lately. I told her that this was not clear to me at all. We went back and forth, and I felt that her tone was argumentative. As a result, she requested space from me, which I respected. We reunited 8 months later. Our solution was that she would be more clear when expressing her needs. Things started happening again recently. I noticed her behavior becoming more strange. She used to speak so highly of me, but during this time she started becoming more negative around me. She critiqued everything I did and became more judgmental overall. I felt unintelligent around her and began to believe the judgmental things she would say about me. I started pulling away from her unconsciously at the time. It then dawned on me that this is how she acted the last time she was going through a difficult period, which caused me to pull away. It made me realize that this had happened before, and that's why she had become so reactive towards me, and I was just completely unaware of it. I sent her a recording of me explaining my feelings. I did so via recording so that she wouldn't read into text tones and misunderstand my intent, which was to express myself in a gentle way. She then became reactive over text. I do not remember all the details because I dissociated during this fight, but she called me a liar for not knowing she was going through a difficult period the last time and told me that I had personal problems. I became very defensive in response. We took a break from the fight and I apologized for my response. I tried to initiate a more peaceful conversation, saying that I wanted this to be a space where we could talk to each other about our feelings and needs without attacking each other. But she pushed back, saying I was too sensitive and that I was sharing a narrative when recalling the way she was talking to me during our fight. I told her I could no longer talk to her as I felt manipulated and stopped trusting her at this point. She then called my ex-boyfriend and talked about me. She tried to get him to side with her that there was something wrong with me. Luckily, he went to me right afterwards and told me about her behavior. She then texted my mother about how she was worried for me because I was seeing two different realities. She also lied about events between me, her, and my ex-boyfriend. She has since also spoken to my father on the phone about my problems. Am I the person in the wrong for how I handled this? I think you are not in the wrong here. This woman is 30 years old, and she's calling your ex, your mom, and your dad in an attempt to turn them against you. Going behind your back and bad-mouthing you to your ex and family is a big red flag in a friendship. Withdraw and keep a friendly distance to prioritize your own emotional well-being. Am I the jerk for pulling out of a trip as I have to make my own way there without my friends? We have a trip planned where someone has invited our friend group to their holiday home. There are 4 girls including me and 5 guys. It is not too far, around a 4-hour drive, so it is just for a short trip over the weekend. We have all finished university. Some of my girlfriends went traveling and some people, including myself, are working. The person whose home it is said we can come anytime and stay however long we like from Wednesday to Sunday. I spoke with the girls and they asked if I was taking days off work. I said I could drive us up Thursday evening after work. I work from home on Fridays, so I can log on while out there as Fridays are usually very chill, so no days off are needed. They said Thursday evening is fine, and they are happy to do that, as I am the only one who drives and has a car. So, this was the plan. One of the girls has now said she can take her father's car. She does not work yet, and neither do the rest of the girls. She said she is going to drive up in the morning on Thursday if we wanted to get in her father's car. I said I obviously cannot go during the day, as I have not taken that day off. One of the girls, let's call her Megan, said Thursday evening is still better for her, so she will come with me then and the other 2 will drive up Thursday in the morning. She has now messaged me, bearing in mind it is Tuesday, 2 days away from the trip, saying she has now decided to go with the other girls on Thursday during the day. Her boyfriend is not coming to see her, so she would just be doing nothing during the day now. I am annoyed because it means I now have to do that 4-hour drive by myself in the dark after work. I would be tired after a long day in the office and have no one to keep me company, plus the extra cost of petrol as I cannot split it anymore. I could go Friday evening after work, but it is the same situation. Saturday only means I have one night there, which seems a waste. I have gotten annoyed and said that if this is the situation, I do not want to come anymore. I am frustrated that they have changed the plans and left me to make the journey on my own. They have said I am being difficult, overreacting, and it is not a big deal. They suggested I just drive up on my own and someone will come with me on the drive home. I think it is unfair as they have changed the plans so last minute. I potentially could have gotten Thursday off work if I knew in advance, but now it is too short notice. They are acting like I am being the one in the wrong for now not wanting to go, as we have not been able to do a trip together for ages. In my opinion, you have done nothing wrong here. They changed plans last minute, forcing you to do something uncomfortable like making that drive alone at night, especially since arrangements could have been made to leave earlier if they had said something sooner. Excellent points about the gas, driving alone in the dark, and a 4-hour drive after a full day at work. It's very reasonable to back out at this point. Am I the jerk because my sibling doesn't want to go on vacation with us anymore? Once a year, my sister, my brother, my mother, and I go on vacation together. This year, it was time again last week. It was already the 4th vacation with this group. As always at the end, it's about looking forward to the next vacation and planning a little. Where should we go? And when is everyone available? We quickly agreed on a time because my sister already knows, due to her schooling, when she needs to take time off in the summer. Yesterday, I got a message from her saying she's not sure if she wants to travel with us because she wants to go on vacation with her boyfriend. I then asked if it would be possible to schedule a different time, but she didn't respond to that. She only mentioned that they want to travel alone. I ended the chat by saying that we were talking past each other. Today, I received another message from her, saying that she talked to her boyfriend, and they've decided she no longer wants to travel with us because they now have their own family. I then called her to ask for an explanation as to why she can't travel with her boyfriend, and with us as well. She replied that her boyfriend was very sad when she went on vacation with us this year. I expressed my understanding, but also pointed out that all of us have partners who weren't with us. I enjoy the vacations with this group because we rarely spend so much time together at once. After some back and forth, she angrily hung up on me. The call was on speakerphone, so I suspect he was listening in. For context, it's important to know that due to a disability, he is in a wheelchair, and she takes care of him outside of her schooling. Both are currently in school training programs. She is not his caregiver. He receives caregiving benefits. During last week's vacation, he was with family members. She is 19, and they've been living together for about a year. I have no personal issues with him, although there was a conflict in the past due to different political views. I completely understand that he has needs and is helpless on his own, but I believe there are definitely possible solutions for that. Additionally, I cover 95% of the costs for these vacations. Am I the antagonist because I feel like she's letting herself be too strongly influenced? You did nothing to be ashamed of. Her boyfriend sounds controlling and manipulative, especially if he's trying to isolate her from you by saying they have their own family at just 19. Always invite her and keep the door open so she knows she has support if she ever wants to leave him. Tread lightly because he might twist anything said or done to make you the villain. Am I the jerk for refusing to drive my brother-in-law back from vacation and not compromising with my partner? My husband and I will be married for 1 year next month. We couldn't quite decide what we wanted to do as my husband loves to camp and be in the wilderness. Some of his friends and his brother are going on a camping trip the same weekend. I wanted to have more of a staycation and spend quality time exploring our area, go to a picnic, and then have a nice dinner on the day of our anniversary. As a compromise, we agreed we'd go camping with friends for the 2 days before and drive back early the morning of our anniversary to celebrate at home. It is about a 5-hour drive. I told him I just wanted our anniversary day to be just the 2 of us and no one else. I said it was really important to me that we celebrate on the day of, and he agreed and promised it would be. His brother asked if he could ride with us up and back, and my husband said he would ask me, but the answer will probably still be no. I was upset that he had to frame it that way instead of outright saying no, but I said I still wasn't comfortable. His brother has his own car and was planning to go on this camping trip even before we decided to join. Our other friends live in the opposite direction. His brother also tends to not be punctual at all. He has missed family vacations, flights, and other important events. We had a reservation at a place that day that charged for no-shows. His brother got really upset at his answer and asked why it was a big deal since he would just be riding in the car with us. My husband apologized and said, if it was just up to me, I would have said yes. My husband called me back and told me how the conversation went, and I immediately felt put in an awkward position. My husband has a habit of people-pleasing, especially with his family, and I felt like I was being made out to be the bad guy. So I honestly said fine, he can ride with us, but I was extremely upset and told my husband I was disappointed in how he handled it. Now my husband is trying to reschedule our anniversary plans, but I told him point blank I wasn't super interested in celebrating with him another day. Our dinner reservation on the day of is canceled because we both agreed it would be risky to try to make it if we were depending on his brother to leave on time. He said I was being unreasonable and that it was wrong to make his brother drive alone. He is saying I am overreacting about this and that he is trying to celebrate with me another day, but that I am just being stubborn. So am I the antagonist? You are not the bad guy in this situation. You and your husband had a clear agreement to celebrate your anniversary, just the 2 of you, and he went back on it. Your disappointment and frustration are understandable, especially since he couldn't maintain the boundaries you both set. His attempt to reschedule doesn't address the core issue of prioritizing your relationship. It's essential for him to respect and prioritize your feelings, especially on such significant milestones. Am I the jerk for not agreeing to doing a custody split in my dad's divorce? I, a 17-year-old male, just turned 17, and my dad is in the middle of his divorce. His ex-wife wants me to go to her home 50% of the time, like my younger half-siblings from their marriage do. However, his ex-wife is not my mother, and I do not want to have any kind of custody time with her. I am happy their marriage is ending. I am happier than I have been since they got married. She is being very forceful about this, and I heard her yell on the phone when she was talking to my dad the other night, which is why I ask. My mom died when I was 5 years old, and in part, that is why I never liked my dad's ex-wife. I met her when I was 6 years old. She came over one day while I was home and got uncomfortable seeing photos of my mom or us as a family. She either hid the photos or put them down so she wouldn't have to see them. Then she was talking about how excited she was to be in my life. When she and my dad got engaged, she started to get agitated that I didn't want to be in the wedding and that I was still talking about my mom. She asked me why I had to talk about my mom and why I couldn't be happy with the mom I had right there. She often told me that she loved me and wanted me to say it back, but I never did. My dad was really weak about standing up for me or making her back off. My relationship with him got worse because of this. I never had a good relationship with her. I hated her for being so upset about my mom. Her jealousy made me want nothing to do with her. I never gave her the love and affection she basically begged me for. She and my dad had 5 children together while they were married, and each time she acted like my half-siblings would be the reason I would finally start to love her. The only time my dad was good was when he would talk about my mom with me or share a story about her, but he did it when his ex-wife wouldn't hear. However, he would also tell me she felt insecure, and that my clinging so tightly to my mom made her feel like she had no place in our family. I do think she loves me, but I don't think she loves me in a healthy way. It is more selfish. Something I learned to accept in therapy is that she can love me, like really love me, but it still could be unhealthy. When my dad and his ex-wife announced they were getting divorced, I was really happy. My dad had already made a stand for me and told her we were going to celebrate my mom's birthday together, just him and me. I think that was the final straw in their marriage, but even after everything, she still wants me around. While I don't want her in my life, even though she is the mother of my half-siblings, I don't want to see her much. If I could never see her again, it would make me happy even though I am more indifferent now. She is really pushing for this, and my dad has asked me to consider it. He wants me to think about all the years she tried even if it wasn't great. I told him not to go back to putting her before me. After I heard her yelling at my dad, she asked me how I could be so ungrateful. Am I the a-hole? You are not in the wrong. You're 17, and she has no say in where you go. She way overstepped when she hid or put down photos of your mom just because they made her uncomfortable. This is fully on your dad. He should have put his foot down from the beginning. After everything, it's surprising she still wants you around, probably for babysitting. Am I the jerk for punching the new pastor? For context, I am a 29-year-old female who helps run the daycare at my church, and I have been the women's and youth pastor for 7 years. We had a transition recently. Our pastor, who I'll call Jim, is retiring due to health reasons, so our church decided to bring in a co-pastor, who I'll call Nick, a 31-year-old male, who would eventually take over Jim's role. Nick seemed like a great guy, but for some reason, I never got the best vibe off of him. On paper, he was perfect. His family lived in Guam, his dad owned the largest government bio-cleanup site, and he moved here for more opportunities in the ministry field because Guam is mostly Catholic, and there weren't many non-denominational churches. Things started getting weird when I would find Nick in the nursery area at various times. He would always be chatting with one of the girls, who I'll call Lisa, who volunteers regularly for the daycare. When he'd see me, he always would say he was getting to know the church layout or people, or if the kids were there, he wanted to connect with the youth. Lisa seemed to enjoy him, so I thought maybe they were connecting, but it just seemed odd to me. And again, I got unsettling vibes from Nick. This went on for a few months. He offered, multiple times, that if we needed help staffing the youth side, he'd be more than willing. I brushed it off each time, saying he was there to support Jim and learn the reins for pastoral work. This brings us to today. We hold a women's group on Tuesday evenings. The church offers daycare for it. Lisa always runs it while I lead the group night. When I arrived, I didn't see Nick's car, only Lisa's, and that was it. It was a pretty empty building on Tuesdays. I checked in on Lisa, and I noticed I didn't see her daughter, who I'll call B, and she is 5 years old, so I asked where B was. She said Nick wanted to have a chat with her, so he took her to his office. When I tell you I felt so cold and hot at the same time, it was crazy. I didn't ask anything else. I just ran to Nick's office, yanked the door open, and there he was standing with B with her shirt off. I saw red and punched Nick across the face as hard as I could and grabbed B. Nick came screaming out of his office, telling me it's not what it seemed, and that she spilled juice on it. I just kept jogging down the hall until I got to Lisa and told her to call the police. She looked rightfully confused. I briefly told her while handing her B. Lisa seemed mad, but mad at me, and told me to stop lying. Then she left. I was so confused. I went after her to find her and Nick leaving together with B. The next day, Jim told me I needed to apologize to Nick, and if I didn't, then we would have to consider other options about my place at the church. He said my continued hatred of Nick wasn't acceptable. Nick was telling everyone I was saying hurtful things to him or refusing to let him get to know my side of the ministry, and that I held a grudge because I asked him out, and he shot me down. All of which are false. It's true I never warmed up to Nick, but I never said one rude thing, nor did I ever ask him out. I explained what I saw and had been feeling, and Jim dismissed it, saying my hate was clouding me. I feel kind of crazy now. Am I the antagonist here? This post has been removed for violating Rule 5, no violence. Please review the rules and the Rule 5 FUs before resubmitting your story. Resubmitting without approval will lead to a ban, no exceptions. Visit r/findaredit for a list of other subreddits that may host this discussion. Thanks for watching. When you subscribe, make sure to hit the bell to turn on notifications so you never miss a video. To finish listening to all the stories, check out the playlist in the description.